Hi, it's Dr. Jan with some wise words to work with. And have you ever wondered how bullying starts and how it turns into bully culture and becomes normalized and becomes part of the organizational norms, values, and behaviors? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. And I'm going to answer those questions for you. But I want to clear up one thing before we get started. And that bullying starts. It has nothing to do with the target. It has nothing to do with the target's personality or them reporting the bullying. Bullying starts because of an individual or individuals in an organization who are insecure, who are not feeling great about their work, and they bully to cover it up, to gain power, and because of their personal insecurity. So it has everything to do with the bully and not really anything to do with the person being targeted. And so bullying starts as some isolated incidences or acts of aggression. That can be anything. It can be interrupting, calling someone names, cyber abuse. But these are viewed then in the workplace as harmless, as minor, as something that will take care of itself. And so what happens is when these behaviors, it's very likely that these behaviors could be reported. It's very likely they are noticed, but they are seen as isolated incidents. They're not seen as a big deal. And so nobody holds that person accountable. And then what happens is the bully is given the green light to continue. And these behaviors over time escalate. And when these behaviors go unchecked, they attract like-minded people. And that is that people openly support the bully and openly engage in bullying behaviors, or they passively support the bully's actions. So when bystanders put their heads down, when bystanders don't report, that behavior is passively supporting the workplace bully. And so over time, again, this isn't something that's happening in 2 weeks or 4 weeks. This is happening over a significant amount of time where the bully engages in bullying behavior. They see what's going to happen to them. And when they're not held accountable, they increase the intensity of their bullying and they push the bar, so to speak. So the negative behavior essentially gains momentum and it creates a toxic culture, which turns into bully culture where bullying becomes the norm. So over time, then you have everybody has their role, targets, bystanders, and bullies. Okay. And over time, the bully gains more power, more control. They can create that culture of fear where the group dynamics become dysfunctional, where bystanders believe that the target, they have my side bias and they believe that the target deserves it. And everybody is part of that bully culture in that dysfunctional group dynamics. So what happens then over time is that you have a dysfunctional organization with terrible group dynamics. And what happens is the bully gains superiority, they're gaining power, they're able to do whatever they want because they've created a culture where bystanders and targets are scared. There's a fear of retaliation, there's isolation, there's a fear of exclusion. And over time, the group dynamics and the lack of accountability solidify into bully culture, where aggression and bullying is rewarded and empathy is suppressed, making it increasingly challenging to break that cycle and foster a healthy workplace. Because when you have a bully culture, what happens is you have people in their roles of bullying, you have the people in their role of bystanders and targets. And over time, people change into different roles. So you might have a target who over time, again, when people cycle out of the workplace and new people cycle in, somebody starts as a target of workplace bullying, then they role shift into bystander. And again, this is target is a disempowering role. Bystander is a pretty disempowering role. And over time, you can have a target role shift into a bystander, role shift into a bully. Because if you stay in bully culture for long enough, you become so disempowered that the only thing that makes you feel better is engaging in the dysfunction of the organizational culture, which is bullying. And so that's where, if you look at it, okay, bullies often say that they've been victimized, and that can very well be true, okay, that they have started off as a target but ended up as a bully. And that's why they don't see how their behavior is that of a bully. And so what happens when you have bully culture is that bullying becomes sustained. It's a self-sustaining cycle unless you have intervention. And that's the problem, is without intervention, bullying goes on and on and on and on. And that's why it's very, very difficult for us to see really how bullying starts, because for many organizations, and in the organizations that I worked in, they had bullying happening for decades. And so it's very difficult for people to understand how it starts. And the other thing I want to say too is that, again, when we look at bullying, the only thing that's going to stop it is systematic interventions, where organizations have interventions. That means policies and procedures. Leaders have interventions that learn how to hold bullies accountable, and leaders learn how not to be bullies. And individuals, bystanders, bullies, and targets learn how to change and manage their behavior and to become part of an organizational consciousness where we understand how we are important in the organization, but that our behavior as colleagues influences one another, and that when we come into a workplace as an individual worker, we don't get to just be whoever we want as a coworker. We have to be a coworker who has the ability to be empathetic, self-reflect, and change our behavior if it isn't influencing our organizational culture positively. Thank you so much. Please like, share, and comment. And if you have any questions, you can always drop me a comment below, or you can email me at jan@stopbullyculture.com. Thank you so much.